We will now go over the assembly procedure. Position the starboard and port hull assemblies approximately 80 inches or 2 meters on center from one another. We use wooden saddles to mark the position and hold the hull assemblies upright. Please note that the hull assemblies are marked port or starboard on the aftmost bulkhead. However, another way to tell the port from the starboard is that the cleats are always on the outboard side. Next, place the foam blocks on the aftmost handles in the orientation shown. Remove foot pins in preparation for the rear arch assembly. To ensure the proper orientation of the rear arch assembly, the forward tube is marked fore and the rear tube aft. Another way to tell is that the outboard tube goes forward and the inboard tube goes aft. Insert rear arch into foot assembly. There is a saddle on the dowel rim blocks that captures the rear arch assembly and lines up the holes for the foot pin. Insert the foot pin and secure in place with the quick release pin. Lean the rear arch assembly against the foam blocks. When assembling or disassembling the WAM V USVx, use the foam blocks provided and position over the aftmost handle as shown. Lean the rear arch against the foam blocks. These foam blocks prevent the rear arch from rotating to the 90 degrees from vertical position. Do not rotate to the forward position as there is nothing to prevent rotation. Damage to the anodized coating will occur if the rear arch assembly is allowed to rotate to either of the two 90 degrees from vertical positions. Remove quick release pins at suspension ball joints in preparation for front arch. Insert clevis end of front arch over ball joint assembly and insert quick release pin through front arch clevis and ball joint assembly. Rotate front arch to forward leaning position. Once the forward arch is in place, do not rest it in the aft leaning position as it could damage the anodized coating. Instead, rotate it to the forward leaning position as shown. Bring in payload tray and rotate rear arch into position under the payload tray. Insert payload tray shaft into the ball joint on the front arch. Install ball joint retaining collar and quick release pin. Make sure the dowel ring clamps are in the open position as shown and lower the payload tray onto the rear arch assembly. The rear arch tube marked 4 goes on the forward side of the dowel ring clamp, and the rear arch tube marked aft goes on the aft side of the dowel ring clamp. Push the tubes into the payload tray until they seat firmly in place. Rotate the dowel ring clamp 90 degrees in the direction shown until they snap into position and insert quick release pins. Remove foam blocks. The WAM V USVx is now assembled.